Hello everyone, welcome to something a little bit different. I play Minecraft and I primarily build cities, and if I build cities, I build trains. While I was working on my train the other day, I thought maybe, just maybe, someone who watches my channel might want to see a video on how to build a locomotive. This is my first time trying to do a tutorial of any kind, so I'll let you know some things up front. I play Minecraft on Pocket Edition. I don't even have a login. I don't play online, I don't use World Edit, and I don't even use texture packs. I try to build everything in vanilla Minecraft. Now, my locomotives aren't the most accurate ones out there. There's plenty more accurate looking locomotives on Minecraft on YouTube. Crafty Fox being one of them. Everyone should subscribe to him. But I find for me, a lot of the hyper-real locomotives on YouTube right now look too cluttered for Minecraft and don't fit with its style. So I have a certain way I build my trains, and I have certain things I do, like I use the same truck design for rail cars, I have a certain truck design I use for locomotives, and I have door placement on my locomotives that aren't accurate to the real thing, but are a necessary sacrifice to allow you to have an interior. So now let's get on to the actual tutorial. You can see here I already have some CSX locomotives in early paint scheme, among others. So your first step is going to be, what locomotive are we going to make and in what paint scheme? Today we're going to be making an sd40-2 in the CSX YN2 paint scheme. So we already have our coupler and air hose built connected to the rest of the train. So the first thing we're going to do is place down polished black stone stairs, 3 of them facing this direction, and then on the outsides, upside down and facing outwards. Above that we'll put a block and then upside down stairs on each side. A little screw up there. On top of that, polished black stone blocks. So this should be 3 high. Now we're going to make a column of 3 in the middle, and then we're going to place 2 end rods on each side on the lower 2. This is for the porch lighting. Then 2 blocks to make this T shape. Then another column, and then we're going to extend that out on both sides to the edge of the tracks. This will provide the frame for our stairs to get on the locomotive. Now that we have that, we're going to put down our first set of wheels. I'm using netherite for a nice shiny new wheel. I also use end rods for the axles because, one, they look like axles and they provide an additional bit of hidden lighting to see your train at night. Then we're going to place stairs in a T shape with the middle away from the wheels here. Then we'll go ahead and put down our next set of wheels and an end rod for the axle, and then just do the same thing. Stairs coming out, facing opposite directions in between the wheels, and finally our last set of wheels for this bogie. And same thing, we put the end rod in the middle. Now we're putting dark oak fence gates and opening them into each wheel on each side, representing our sanders and air hoses. Had a little problem getting it in the right spot there. And this isn't set in stone. You can use whatever color you want. Like if you want a more rusty looking older wheel, stripped logs work really good for that. And now we're placing nether brick walls on the outside everywhere there's stairs. And now, everywhere there's a wheel showing, we're going to put dark oak fence gates. And same things. You can play around with the colors if you want a more older or newer looking look. And now, to finish off my locomotive truck design, we're going to put nether brick slabs on the outside above everything, reaching from where the wheels are in the front to where the wheels are in the back. And that'll complete the truck design for the locomotive. Now that the first truck is done, we're going to come back to the front, and on top here, on both sides, bring your polished blackstone brick all the way out to the wheels. Then we're going to go ahead and come one out. Make sure we fill in the middle piece on that one. Another row of 3, and then down on the bottom another row of 3. Now we're going to get upside down stairs, and we're going to make a row on this outside edge that's 12 blocks long. Once we have the 12 blocks long, we fill in 3 polished blackstone blocks across, and then we bring 12 blocks of stairs upside down on the other side. This will make the frame of our fuel tank. So once we've connected that, the outside of our fuel tank is done. I'm going to fill in the top here just 3 wide in the middle. You could fill in that bottom portion, but I usually don't waste time doing it because once the locomotive's done and the ground's done, you won't see it from the outside anyway. So now it's time to make our second truck. So we skip a block, lay down our netherite again, just like we did on the front, and we put in an end rod as the axle. And then same exact truck as the front. We have stairs in a T-shape in between each set of wheels. Then we do our second set of wheels, same way, with an end rod in the middle. And then another set of stairs with a T-shape. And then the final set of wheels. And once again an end rod as the axle. And then, same as the front, everywhere there's stairs, we put nether brick walls. And everywhere there's wheels, we put dark oak fence gates. Same thing, both sides. And then, on the outsides of each wheels, we put dark oak fence gates and open them towards the wheels to be our sanders and air hoses. On top of that, reaching to the edge of each wheel, nether brick slabs on each side on the outside edge. And just like on the front, this will complete our locomotive truck design. Now we're going to go back to our polished blackstone brick and go ahead and fill in this middle 3. We come 1 row past above where those fence gates are and 1 in the middle. Come underneath, extend that down, and then we're going to put 1 above it and all the way out to the edge of the tracks on each side. So it should be a 3x5 when you're done with it. Now we place 3 in the middle, double end rods on each side for the porch lighting, and now we got to make the plow on this end. So there's 2 blocks on top and a stair in the middle, stair on the bottom coming across the rails, and then on the outside, upside down stairs facing outwards. Then on the next level, upside down stairs facing forward, and then blackstone block on top. Now, a lot of locomotives I see on YouTube only build their underframes 2 blocks high with slabs on the outside edges. But since we don't have every color of slab, I build mine 3 blocks high. That way we can have correct color placement. Now we have to decide which way the locomotive's facing. I'm going to have it facing out there into the void. So I just went in and got an anvil. We're going to skip 1 block and make a row of anvils so they connect like the rails do, and stop 3 blocks before the front. Same thing on this side, 3 block gap, drag it all the way back, 1 block gap. This represents our air tanks. Just remember, at least for this sd40-2 build, the larger gap on these air tanks faces towards the front. Now we're going to go into our inventory here, and we're going to take out a crimson sign, a crimson button, and a player head. Crimson should be used for the sign and button because it's the closest to red we have, but you can use whatever player head you want. I'm going to go with this lighter skull just to have some contrast, but you could easily use the wither skull and it would still look good. Now you want to place them facing the inside. Here I screwed up and put a sign. We want to put the skull there, but we have them facing the inside so you don't see the faces. This represents the fuel caps. Now we're going to put signs as straight as you can this way, and then the buttons here. This represents our fuel shutoff, and from the side the sign looks like the viewing glass to check your fuel. Now we're going to go in and we're going to take out some yellow concrete, and we're going to fill in the top of the bottom frame here. So yellow all the way across, 5 across, and go ahead and fill that all in with yellow concrete to the other end of the locomotive. And finally, our underframe is looking almost done. Another detail I just realized I forgot, we're going to go ahead and take out a chain, and in these gaps between the truck we're going to put chains. 2 here, bring it right to the fuel tanks, 1 there, and 1 between the truck and the front, and then same thing on this side. We're going to place a chain there, and then a chain at the back of the truck. Come on down, 2 chains here reaching up to this air tank, and 1 there. Now, one of the last steps for the underframe of the locomotive is to put in our stairs on all the porches. I'm going to use polished black stone slab here. We come up on this outside edge, place it on the bottom of each brick, going up 3. Same thing on the other side. Place it on the bottom. I screwed up there. The bottom of the second brick, bottom of the third brick. Go to the back, and we're going to do the same thing. Here I realized on the picture I was looking at for inspiration, the edges of the stairs were painted yellow. We don't have yellow slabs, but I decided to change it to these wood slabs here to better match a real locomotive. But this isn't an exact science. You can use whatever color slabs you think looks right. But same thing. On the bottom of each block, place it on both sides on each end of the locomotive. I realized I forgot to fill in these middle 2 blocks, so go ahead and do that. And now we finally get to start building the main parts of the locomotive. Since we're doing YN2, we're going to need yellow concrete, we need blue concrete. We have to decide what color windows we want. I'm just going to use regular old glass panes for the windows. We also need gray. You could use gray concrete or even clay. I'm going to use cyan terracotta to give it a darker look and more worn look. Come to the front. On the 4th block black, we place a yellow concrete. On top of that, a blue one to represent the logo, and a yellow concrete on top. 1 back and 1 over on each side, 3 yellow concrete high. Now we're going to move to the back of the locomotive, and same thing here. We place a yellow concrete on the 4th block back, and then 1 on each side just like that. And we're going to bring that up, put a blue one for the logo, bring the yellow up, and when you're done, this should be 5 blocks tall. Now we're going to move back and work on the front and the cab here. So we have our yellow concrete, and we're going to place 1 here, 1 out, 1 up, so you have kind of this L shape and this nice sloping stair pattern. Blue on top here, 2 blue there. That we're going to leave empty because that's where I put doors. Now we're building a blue concrete column on the outside edge and 4 blocks tall. 2 back and 2 up of blue. Then we put yellow. This represents the locomotive number. And another column 4 blocks tall of blue on each side. And now we're going to go ahead and put our glass panes in for the windows on the sides. 1 in here on each side and a blue concrete block in the middle. So we have our windows done. Now back to blue concrete here. We're going to pull a layer of blue concrete all the way to the back of the locomotive here. And here you can see why I build my underframe 3 blocks tall. If it was only 2 blocks tall, we wouldn't have been able to have that yellow for the yellow stripe, and it wouldn't look right. Now that we've brought both sides back to the cab with blue concrete, we're going to come up all the way to the top, 1 block column of blue concrete, and we're just going to kind of make it some stairs here. Same on this side, but this side's a little different because of where I put a door, so we're going to knock 2 out here for a door. Now we're going to take out our cyan terracotta, or whatever gray colored block you're using, and fill it in 3 blocks tall above the blue concrete, all the way to the back of the locomotive. Now we filled in with whatever gray color block we use, both sides of the locomotive, 4 high here. Get a blue concrete, put 1 in the middle, 1 sticking forward, make this T shape, and then just fill in to the back of the cab of the locomotive with your blue concrete. And I just realized I miscalculated the slope of the blue, so we need to bring that 1 more forward here, and then we need to knock out this first layer of gray and bring the slope 1 more block back so it lines up with the back of this blue on top here. And now we're going to place some details, mainly vents. So I'm going to use blast furnaces, a row of 3 on each side, facing backwards so their sides face the outside. Then a row of 3 of whatever color gray block you're using and fill in the middle. Now come to the back of the locomotive, and on each side we're going to use bedrock, 6 blocks long on each side. Now that we have our vents in, go ahead and fill in this entire top with whatever gray colored block you're using on your locomotive. Now that the top's filled in, come to the front to finish the cab. We don't have blue stairs in Minecraft, so I'm using warp stairs because it's the closest thing in my opinion. Put that right above the windows, 4 wide on each side to get the slant of the cab roof. Now we're going to build the fans on top. So at the back in the middle, 1 block in, use slabs to make this plus shape, and then another and another. The sd40-2 has 3 fans back here. Now we're going to take polish andesite slabs upside down 1 block from the vent, come to the front, same thing, upside down 1 block from the vent. Then the rest fill in upside down facing outwards to the sides. And we're going to do that same thing on the other side. 1 block in, upside down facing forward. Come across, sideways and outwards upside down stairs. And then 1 upside down stair facing backwards. Now we have to build our dynamic brake fans. So the same thing, 1 in from the back, build the plus, and then another one. There's 2 fans for the dynamic brakes. Now we've taken out a blast furnace and iron trap doors. So we're going to place a 3x3 of iron trap doors above these front vents here. You'll have to crouch to place them. Come 1 block back from the trap doors and knock out the block in the very middle. Put in the blast furnace for your exhaust. Then we're going to knock out the holes in all these pluses and put blast furnace in to be the center of our fans. On top of the blast furnace, we're going to crouch and we're going to place the iron trap doors just so it looks a little more like a fan. Same thing on the dynamic brake fans here. Now we've taken out a quartz slab and we're going to put 2 on each outside 1 block back. These are the air conditioning units, and then an open fence gate on the top front, and that's your horn. Now we're going to take some dark gray carpet, and anywhere on top where gray is showing and nothing's built, we're going to place that carpet down, even on the outsides of these stairs here. Even in between all of these fans. It just makes it look a little more coherent from the top view and covers all of these vents from being seen from the top, because the vents don't show on the top in real life. Even on the back, in between all these fans, and even on that back yellow concrete there. Now we're going to come on the front to this gap, place a door, and the back where we left a gap here, and place a door. Use whatever door looks right to you. Now we got to add a few more details to the outside of the front here. So yellow concrete, 2 wide right there. Back here, blue coming up to the door, and then a stair down and 2 back. On this side, back to yellow concrete, under the door, 2 forward. This side here, we don't do anything. Now I'm taking out lapis lazuli to build the logo. You could use blue concrete. I'm just doing it to make the logo stand out from the blue stripe. Make a C shape right under the beginning of those stairs. Skip a block. This is how I do my S's. A backwards L and then 1 up there. It's hard to do at this scale to make an accurate S, and I don't like using slabs. It looks too cluttered. The X shape is fairly simple, just like that. Then we got to make our logo on the other side. We're going to do this one backwards so we have them lined up. We know we're under the beginning of the stairs, so we build the X, just like that. Fill it in with lapis lazuli. Skip a block, do our backwards L shape, and then 1 on the corner to represent our S. Skip a block and make the C shape. You could also use letter banners for this logo, but I like the logo to be a bit bigger and bolder when I can. Now we got to decide what color the inside of the cab will be. I'm going to use prismarine because it's greenish, and a lot of old locomotives had a greenish metal interior. So we're going to fill that with 2 slabs there just to make it even with the door. Now we're going to take string, place it on the front, place a door right there, and then another piece of string in front of that door. Now take out blue carpet and crouch and place it above these doors and on top of those strings. I accidentally placed one inside there, but we'll worry about that later. Then the very front, yellow carpet, and the string allows the carpet to sit there. Now I know my doors are not accurate, but it's necessary at this scale to even have a door to be able to get into the cab. Now we're going to take out a bell, and on the locomotive picture I'm looking at, the bell is here behind the dynamic brakes housing on the engineer side. Your bell placement will vary depending on where you want. Sometimes they're down here by the fuel tank. Sometimes they're up there on the top front of the locomotive. The picture I'm looking at had it on the back by the dynamic brakes. So now we're going to go ahead and build the interior here. Now I've tried to make locomotives bigger to have accurate door placement and a more detailed interior, but it just doesn't scale right. The locomotive's too huge and it doesn't proportion right, so I stick to this scale and make the necessary sacrifices. Now we're just getting all the stuff we need for the interior. We already have our slabs. We're going to need item frames, a lever, a compass, whatever stair color you want to be the seats, and a blast furnace and glowstone. So we're going to go ahead and take out our slabs and make a column on each side coming right up to the bottom of the front windows, and then fill that in 1 block high and 2 back and then 1 above. Now we're going to fill in our sides with slabs right up to where the floor by that door is. Same thing back here in front of the door, in the middle, and on the other conductor side of the locomotive. So you should have something that looks like this. This will give you the space to walk down in the front. 2 stairs for your seats, an item frame. This gives you at least some kind of gauge and a lever. It's not much of an interior, but that's the scale. Come all the way down into the front nose and place an M portal, and now your locomotive has a toilet. And now you can go through the cab to the back, place a sideways blast furnace to look like a breaker box, and some glowstone so your cab's lit up. And now the interior is complete. We can go in and out from the front and the back of the locomotive and walk on the outside just like in real life. The only thing is at this scale the doors are in the wrong place, but I think it's a necessary sacrifice. Now we're outside on the front to place our railings. I'm using oak fences because it's the closest to yellow and it matches our stairs. You can use whatever fence looks right to you. So now we've made oak fence 2 wide and 2 tall with a gap in the middle and coming down on each side of the stairs to the bottom. This one comes 1 up. Then I'm going to switch to a different color because it's not all safety yellow. I'm using warped just because I think it looks good with the locomotive. You can use anything you want. You could even use iron bars here. So 2 over, 1 up, and 3 back to connect to the cab. Same thing on this side. 1, 2, up 1, and then bring it back to connect with the cab. Then we come to the back here, 1 on the cab so it's connected, and come all the way to the back of the locomotive with your fences. So you have a railing coming all the way across this walkway here. We stop where the yellow concrete ends. Then we're going to switch back to oak and do the same thing we did on the front. Coming up from the bottom and connected to that, come all the way up from the bottom, 1 up, come over on the end here, 2 wide and 2 tall with a gap in the middle. And this is our safety hand railings for the fronts and backs of the locomotive here. Once we have that 1 up, we're going to switch back to warp and bring this all the way to the front. It's different because we have the stairs and door, so we come up 1 before the first stair, over 2, not that way, up 1, and then over to connect to the back of the cab. Now we have all our outside hand railings done. Take out birch signs to be your number plates. I'm going to use the number 8402 because that's what's on the picture I'm looking at. You could use any number. Maybe you're building a real locomotive, maybe you want to put your favorite number there, but put them above the windows. Then take an item frame in the middle and down here on the fences like this. put glowstone in all the item frames. Now you have a headlight and you have your ditch lights. Come to the back and we got to put lights on here. So I'm going to put 2 item frames because I like to have the vertical lights on the back of my locomotive. And then same thing, more item frames with glowstone for the ditch lights. Now back to our signs for our number plates on the rear end. I'm using sd40-2. Remember what number you use because you don't want mismatched numbers. Place them one down from the top on each side like that, and then a ladder on this side. And now we're starting to really look like a locomotive. Just a few more details to do. Now we're placing a trapdoor right here to be the handbrake. Then switch to dark oak stairs. You got to get them facing this way on that second block up. Go ahead and delete the bottom. There's your coupler. Underneath that, dark oak fence gate becomes your air hose. Now on that third block up, one out from the middle, open some crimson fence gates, and then on the outside, tripwire hooks. These represent all your cabling coming off the front of the locomotive. Come to the back end here, and we're going to do that exact same thing. Skip the middle block, one out from the middle, we place fence gates and open them up, and then on the outside edges, tripwire hooks. Now we need our blower housing, so on the conductor side, one back from the cab, blue stained glass panes 3 high, and then 1 over 2 high, and because of the coloring of the locomotive, that corner one has to be dark gray stained glass. And now we have our blower. One last detail here, I'm going to place a trap door so it folds open and shut that way to be our fold down walkway between locomotives. Erase the block I was standing on, and we're going to do the same thing on the back. That way we can have a walkway between 2 locomotives that actually folds the right way. So we got to kind of place one above another one to get it in the right place, and then delete the bottom one. And do that on each of your connected locomotives here. And now they should fold up in the correct way. Delete the one you used to place it. You could also place a sideways chain on the top between the 2 fences. It would be more realistic, but I leave it off because I like my character to be able to walk through across each locomotive. And there you have it, folks. We've completed our YN2 CSX SD40-2 to go on the front of the train we already have here. Like I said, this is kind of an experimental video here. I don't know if anyone actually wants to see a Minecraft train tutorial, but I figured I'd put it up there and see what happens. So let me know in the comments if I should keep doing Minecraft train tutorials or if I should just stick to the real trains. As you can see, I have all kinds of freight car designs here. We have a tank car, a coil shield car here. I've got a couple different auto rack designs that we're going by right now. Here we have a couple different boxcar designs, a chassis system covered hopper here. We have a gondola, all kinds of different coil shield cars, a bunch of tank cars here. We have a bigger covered hopper design, another box car, a bunch of coil shield cars, and here you can see my trains finally connecting up to my city. So like I said, if you want to see more Minecraft train stuff, let me know in the comments. Everyone who's stuck out this video to the end, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and everyone have a great day.